Hi my friends, I'm back again. It's been a number of years since I've done any videos. I felt it was time because of the 7 years I've been away, the things that I've learned about myself and life and through working with other people. My name's Gerry, from Glasgow, Scotland, and I've done a number of videos throughout the years. And I felt at this time, through my own pain and suffering, I felt it's time to share my experiences with other people. And the first one I'm going to talk about today is what happened. I've had 27 years, nearly 28 years experience of working with myself, on myself, coming through severe mental health, attempted suicides, drug and alcohol misuse, mental institutions, rehab, and studied counselling, therapy, psychology, became accredited. It didn't really teach me anything, or did I learn anything about what happened to me as a child and why I came from an innocent child into a really insecure, grown up, angry, hurtful man with terrible behaviours that I'd learned within my home and my environment. And these series of short videos I'm going to do is to help you to understand through only experience, not through ego or arrogance or for finance gain. I don't do that. It's to help people who are struggling and suffering like myself, who have been to counselling and therapy and are still struggling with change, because change is very difficult. So this wee first video is regarding what happened to us, to give you an understanding of why we became so insecure and why we think, act and behave and react the way we do. We learned it as children within our homes and environments. And I've worked with children, numerous children throughout my career, adults, families, relationships, and I'm going to speak about it all and speak about how to change, because nobody taught me how to change at college or university or school or at home. My pain taught me. My pain was my greatest teacher, which I'll go into later on. To understand why we learned it, when we understand that we learned this, we won't blame, because blame kept me trapped for a number of years, nearly all my life. I was blaming my parents because of the expectation I had of my parents shouldn't be the way they were. They should have been different, but they weren't. And I loved them dearly. They're not here now. I learned to love them, but I hated them growing up, and I blamed them. I didn't understand that we learn everything by watching and listening. As children, small children, when we're sitting on our high chair, we can't really speak. We just mumble. What we see, everything we see in our home, in our environment, we copy on an unconscious level. We're not consciously aware that we're learning from other people. And we learn by watching and listening. Everything I saw and heard in my home, I believed it to be normal. Then the friends that I had in my life, because like attracts like, I got away with thinking and behaving that way in front of others, and they got away with thinking and behaving their way in front of myself and others. So I was attracted to them, because you don't want to be left out, you don't want to be alone. So I'd learned all these things, how to react and how to speak and how to judge and how to criticise and how to blame, how to be angry, how to hold resentment, bigotry, sectarianism in Glasgow, as big as you know, hatred. I'd learned these things, but I hated myself with a vengeance, because I knew I was a nice, beautiful child, young person, and my mother and father split up when I was 5. That did a lot of damage, but you don't understand that as a child because we don't know anything. But I've learned to be really insecure. I know one thing, I didn't come out my mother's womb an angry, drug addict, thief, liar, con man, who messed about, cheated and stole and lied. I never came out of my mother's womb that way. These insecurities were learned through a period of time. I can't blame anyone anymore, because it caused me to end up in all institutions, as I mentioned, and attempted suicide, and just through my own thoughts. But I had learned these things. How did I learn? I watched and I listened. How did you learn to read and write? You had to watch what your teacher was saying, listen to what they were saying, and then copy on a conscious level. As children, we learn on an unconscious level. Everything that we learn how to swear, we learn how to tell lies. But when we were innocent, we never had any fear, so we learned fear. We didn't come out of mother's womb, as I said, riddled with fear. We learned what fear is. We didn't have any fear, which I'll go into later on. But I'll try and explain and give you some examples. What we learn, when a child is innocent, a child will come up to you and look you right in the eye and say to you, I don't like you. Doesn't do your thinking for you, just because of way back and plays with the toys. A child will jump off a wardrobe or a cupboard, jump downstairs, think it's Superman or Superwoman, cut their fingers off with a sharp knife. Children don't have a conscience. This is how you'll begin to understand that we learn everything, because we don't wake up at a certain age with all these insecurities. They're learned through watching, listening, talking to ourselves, telling ourselves lies, things that we had learned. And when you're so innocent, children, they love everything, they love everybody. They have no racism, they have no fear, none whatsoever, because they don't know what it is. They don't tell lies. They always speak the truth. They were born in the truth, they were born in love, and they were born in the light. You know that when you hold a baby and you look in a child's eyes and you see the light shining from that child in your heart, it's just amazing, amazing feeling. But because of what we've learned, it kind of takes away that good feeling when we start to get into the things that we've really learned, the horrible insecurities. But that's basically what happened to us as children, because we're innocent. We don't know right or wrong. We've not got a conscience. As I said, we'll cut our fingers off, put our fingers in an electric socket and blow them off. A child just wants to have fun, play, somebody to play with them, and give them attention. And we go through our whole lives with that dependency that we learned, that codependency, which I'll cover later on. But what happened to us is we learned everything. We learned it. And hopefully these videos will teach you and help you to unlearn the things that's harming you, causing you pain and suffering. Because we don't know anything about life, we know nothing. I'm only sharing with you my 28 years experience, and I feel it's time to share it now to help people understand that we don't need to suffer anymore. Because when we understand, I learned this, how did I learn it? By watching and listening. If I was in a house for 15 or 16 years and it was a dysfunctional house, and probably that is the biggest word I'll ever use, is dysfunction, which means basically to me is negative thinking, negative behaviours learned. And once you understand it's a learned behaviour, you've got the opportunity then to stop the blaming. Because what goes on in our mind and inside our body comes through our thoughts. Nobody can hurt you. We let people live in their heads. As you understand, as you know, you've experienced that, how we think about other people, how we think about ourselves. When you were a child, you didn't think like that. You were so grateful for a cardboard box to play in, rather than the £500 toy that one of our parents had bought us. We're not interested, we don't want to have fun. But what happened to me was basically the making of me. It can either make you or break you. Everything is learned, and I understand that now through simplicity, the way I speak, and the way I go about my life now. I was full of anxiety when I was younger, and panicking, angry, blaming. You think all the things the way I used to think, and I blamed everybody for that. Even though I studied counselling and therapy and psychology and things like that, and we got accredited, I ripped the things up, put them in the bin one day, I was so angry that the words that was getting used by the academics. Now every human being has got lived experience, every human being. We just don't use it. We don't talk about the fear. Every programme that I've studied, nobody went to the root problem of mankind, which is fear. And that's what happened to us. The fear destroys us. We only have fear and love on earth. But we learn to live with fear, worry, shame, guilt, regret, anger, hatred, bigotry, you name it. We learned to think and behave that way, and we don't like ourselves, because later on we punish ourselves for the things that we shouldn't have said or shouldn't have done, and we learn to live in that kind of world of, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that, but I've done it anyway, and then we learn to justify our own behaviour. And that's the horrible part for me, that kept me trapped for a number of years, where I failed to recognise that I was responsible for my own thinking. But learning that as a child growing up, it was around about 7, I've watched thousands of children I've worked with, 6 or 7, the innocence is taken from us and it's replaced by a conscience. Then the child maybe that ran about the house naked for a number of years. I didn't care what people thought about us. We were innocent, my friends, we were so innocent. And you know that with having children or looking at nieces and nephews, you'll see how innocent they are. And then they get to the teenage life and we rebel. And it's something inside of us. And when you unlearn these things, you'll see exactly what I mean when we start to show a bit of love and compassion towards ourselves for the mistakes that we've made. Because we never came out of my mother's womb and chose round about a certain age to just go and get mad and insane and end up in institutions and become addicted, which is a word I don't like. I call it mental health. Nobody with a sane mind is going to go down the road I went down. So I was struggling with mental health and society couldn't recognise that. I don't blame them. The ignorance, the greed, the things that go on in the world. I don't blame anybody for that. To help you is to help you to understand, to be humble enough to understand and break that pride and that ego. And where else did I learn it? Watch your children when they get to 6 or 7, they'll pull their trousers on or their dress. They'll start to feel shame, they'll start to feel guilty, because they know it's wrong. But we need to teach them about why is that sensation going through my body. And because of what we've said and things we've done, we're going against the true self, which is love and compassion. Children always show love and compassion when they get their own way. But children are all the same. They're innocent, they're so lovable, as you know, and why did we go for that innocence into the next stage, and then the next stage? And it's the same patterns of thoughts that we have learned, and we need to unlearn them. And if we don't unlearn them, we're going to struggle the way I did. Just with my thinking, I'm responsible for my thoughts, my feelings and my emotions and how I react. I didn't know that, I didn't understand that, but I know now. And when I take responsibility and I work on a daily basis, and it's not hard, it's difficult, because the things that we have learned as children and the damage that was done to us by our parents, some parents, not all parents, because of their fear and their hurt, and we expected them to be different. And that's what happened to me. I went through my life blaming my parents for not being the parents that I pictured in my own mind as a child. And that's where the trouble started. We all went to school and nursery, and your child will paint its first picture, its very first picture. And I would go as far as saying 9 out of 10 children paint the same picture. And that would be Mummy and Daddy and the 2.4 children holding hands, smile on your face, the wee white picket fence with the nice flowers all coloured in and maybe smiley faces on them, big house at the background and the sun or the rainbow with a big smiley face on it, and everything, and maybe the car sitting in the driveway And that's a picture that psychologists have never looked at. That's the damage, because when we painted that picture, my friends, we were happy. And everything in that picture was happy. And we took it home and Mummy or Daddy pinned it on the fridge or on the wall, your very first picture that you painted. And that was happiness. Having the 2.4 children that we chase, perfect children. The perfect house all bought and paid for, the car and the drive all bought and paid for. And somebody you trust, holding hands, and a beautiful family with no trouble. That was a picture that we painted, and we painted it also in our mind, and that's what happened, because I've listened to thousands upon thousands of people who are struggling. I've worked with them and helped them with through my experience, and been able to open up and be honest and vulnerable and humble enough not to fear what people think of me. But that's what happened. We painted that picture and we chased that picture. If we're honest, we chase it. We're looking for the perfect husband or wife or partner, perfect children, big house bought and paid for, the car sitting in the driveway, all bought and paid for, a big fancy car, everything. Not everybody wants it, but most people chase that picture of happiness and really believe in our own mind, when we have that, or if we get that, we will be happy. And you won't, because you've already know that. Material things, people will never make you happy. Happiness is a decision when you understand that I have learned to be insecure, frightened, worrying what other people think of me, worrying about death, worrying about getting old, worrying about not having any money. These things happened to me as a child. I learned these things. I'm speaking because I have unlearned them. And when you unlearn what you have learned that you do not like, and become responsible and stop blaming, which is difficult, because it's easier to blame than it is to take responsibility, my friends. So when you do that and you understand I learned it, this is what happened to me, now I've got a choice to unlearn it. And I'll be back with another few videos very shortly. I hope and pray that you take something from that, my friends. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. Namaste, bless you, and thank you kindly. Thank you.